This is part 2 of Are the Messiah in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam comparative analysis. Here are some of the most prominent Old Testament passages that mention the Messiah. Genesis 3:15. This passage speaks of the coming of a Savior who will crush the serpent's head. Deuteronomy 18:15-19. Moses tells the Israelites that the Lord will raise up a prophet like him from among them, and they must listen to him. Isaiah 7:14. This passage speaks of a virgin who will give birth to a son and call him Immanuel. Isaiah 9:6-7. This passage speaks of a child who will be born and called Wonderful Counselor, my God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. Isaiah 11:1-10. This passage speaks of a shoot that will come up from the stump of Jesse, and the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him. Jeremiah 23:5-6. This passage speaks of a righteous branch who will reign as king and execute justice and righteousness in the land. Micah 5:2. This passage speaks of a ruler who will come from Bethlehem and whose origins are from ancient times. Here are some of the most prominent Old Testament passages that mention the Messiah. In the New Testament, Jesus refers to himself as the Messiah in several instances. One such instance is in the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verses 13-20. In this passage, Jesus asks his disciples who they think he is. And Peter responds by saying that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Jesus then blesses Peter and tells him that he will build his church on this rock. In the book of John, chapter 4, verses 1-42, Jesus meets a Samaritan woman at a well and reveals himself to her as the Messiah. The Messiah was indeed prophesied to come to his people. We have already shown that many of those prophecies were fulfilled when he came to earth in the flesh. He was a servant, suffered during his life, and willingly offered his life as a sacrifice. But there were many prophecies that were not fulfilled, at least not at that time. There are the great prophecies of Isaiah, for instance, that tell us that, in the latter days the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. Isaiah 2:2. The belief in Jesus as the Messiah is a central tenet of Christianity. Muslims also believe in Jesus as a prophet and the Messiah, but not as the Son of God. In contrast, Judaism does not recognize Jesus as the Messiah or the Son of God. If Jesus claimed to be someone he is not, then we would make him a liar. As Christians, we would not have any hope. But if he is who he says he is, then why would we not follow him and give our lives to him? All religions believe that he is coming back, so please don't miss his coming. Go to your knees and ask Jesus to reveal himself to you. I know he will.